Hi, everyone, and welcome to the How to Embrace Social Media webinar put on by iMatrix. Bear with me while we kick this off. We're going to wait about another minute or so and let our last-minute stragglers who signed up for the webinar kind of get on with us. So bear with me for just a few more moments, and we'll get started. All right, so we're going to go ahead and kick this webinar off. So here we go. My name is Justin Allen. I am the manager of our account development department here at iMatrix, and I will be taking us through this, this little webinar journey we're about to kick off on, talking about social media. So on to our first slide. So the first thing that we're going to do, well, really this is kind of an overview of what we're going to do. We're going to be discussing really how to embrace social media for your business. As you may or may not be aware, social media is really no longer an optional part of your business. It's expected from consumers, especially in your local markets. In fact, social media can be a large reason why your clients or patients stick with you or end up going down the street to a competitor. In this webinar, we're going to be discussing a few things. Why you need to embrace social media, how to showcase your brand, why listening carefully matters, tips to respond and engage, ways to target properly, ideas for sharing the latest news, and why you need to make it a habit. So we're going to start off with why you need to embrace social media. As an internet marketing service provider, we come across business owners that are still highly skeptical about social media and really think it's a place for teenagers or people looking to meet up with old friends. We know this is absolutely false. All data really indicates that most consumers really do want to connect with local business providers on social media sites like Facebook or Twitter or even Google+. So one of the first places we want to really discuss is really your brand. Having a strong social media presence really enables you to have better brand recognition. Followers continually see your posts or can share their posts with friends, which extends your reach. Think about it like this. If you're sitting in front of Facebook and you're sending a message to your friends or checking out your posts, and a business you've connected with has something to share, that kind of brings you fresh right in front of their eyes when they're not even thinking about you. And it's part of that brand building and recognition we really want you to do. When it is time to think about the services you offer, we want your name to come front and center for that prospective patient or existing patient. So moving along to the next part, which is improving search engine rankings. Well, social and search aren't really separate anymore. In the old days, you had your organic search results or paid advertising, and then you had your social media. Google and the other search engines have really come a long way recently as far as integrating social into search results. Google went as far as to actually incorporate aspects of Google+ into search engine rankings. So for example, if someone has a Google+ account and is connected with a particular business, when they do a search that is related to that business is likely to come up higher in search results. And the same is said for really the age of social accounts, how often and active they are. All of those things are actually related to where you end up ranking. So if ranking is important to you, you really do need to embrace social media better. Moving on to insight. Really, people of all ages are using social media to share their experience, get referrals, discuss needs. Social media can really be a great opportunity to learn more about your clients and really what it's like to be your own client. So we call it social listening, but can really help you improve your overall business. We can get great insight into what our potential patients need or want. We can also increase referrals and repeat business. The more you really use engaging posts, the more your followers will see your social media and start to think about your business. Kind of like before where we get that better recognition, but when we start to get them to really kind of engage with the posts is really where we're going to get them to start thinking about us more. A lot of people still turn to their friends and family for referrals for local service providers. So if you're at the forefront of one of your patients' minds and one of their friends reaches out to them for a referral, you're going to be that referral. And lastly, from the need, we really want to create these strong relationships. By staying in touch with the followers, we're really giving them really good, insightful, helpful information that's going to help create that strong bond. Additionally, if your followers know that you are, in fact, paying attention, you're going to be more trusted, and they're going to be more loyal to your business. So we really, really, really want you to embrace social media. Now, the next question is, how do we really showcase our brand? Well, obviously, one of the best ways to embrace social media is by using it in conjunction with all of your branding material. So we want to really show off, our logo, our image, things like that. We really want to be consistent with these images. So for example, if you're using one logo on your website, we want that to be the same logo on the Facebook page. A lot of businesses we talk to, especially sometimes when they're sole proprietors, we might have a logo on our website, but then when we use the profile picture, we might actually be using an image of a doctor or an image of someone on the staff. We want to really keep these images consistent. We want there to be a natural transition from what our website looks like to what our social media looks like. And we want to have consistent images clearly there. Related information. If you promote wellness or, for example, nutrition on your website, we want to continue that onto the social media. We want to find great engaging content that really reflects your beliefs and relates to the services that we're providing. So one of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to make it so personal. And what I mean by personal is we don't want to talk about, don't treat social media, a business page, like a social media personal page. On our personal pages, we're talking about, oh, I had a great dinner over at this place. Oh, I'm meeting up with these friends over here. Or, oh, look at this, look at what my cat did today. What we really want to do is make sure the information we're sharing there is directly related to what our website and our business is about. That's how we kind of keep it all together. Last thing we want to do, and again, this ties in with what I just said, but we really want to keep the messages proper. Keep your personal beliefs outside of the business pages. I'm sure we all have friends who are, who are conservative or are part of, the Democratic Party or are pro-war or anti-war or whatever each individual stance might be, and that's okay. But what we don't want to do is put our personal beliefs onto our business pages because we risk the potential of alienating our existing clients or potential clients. So we really want to make sure that the message is in line with what it is we're doing. And again, we move on to reflect your mission. But again, what we want to do is we want to focus in on what our goals are. In this case, if we are a doctor and we're trying to help a patient, we want to make sure that that message is conveyed properly, that we're not bringing a message that is either confusing or off topic that might take away from exactly what we're trying to do. So again, we're all about reflecting your mission. So moving on. Why listening carefully matters. Well, obviously client feedback is critical. We really want to make sure that we're able to understand what our clients feel about us. We really want to get an idea, and this is a perfect opportunity to really get information from them. Clients are always talking about what it is they do, reviews. They're talking about what they're doing, what they ate, where they went, they had an appointment with their chiropractor, they went to the vet. This is a fantastic place to listen in to your clients. So we want you to do that. The other part is really candid information. people aren't afraid to say their experiences. They're not afraid to say, hey, I had a terrible meal at this restaurant, or hey, I had a fantastic experience, with my chiropractor, or oh my God, this vet really cares about, my animal, or oh, this optometrist really took care of me in the way that I really wanted, or the inverse. They weren't happy with their experience. People want to share that information, and they're going to do it candidly. That gives you an opportunity to really check in with your patients, your clients, and get excellent feedback. Now, this lends to the next concept, which is it's a customer service opportunity. When someone is not happy, this gives us an opportunity to take corrective measure. Now, maybe it's an issue we're not aware of. Maybe it's an issue that we can easily address. But one of the things that we want to do is make sure the experience is positive. And obviously that keeps clients coming back. If there is something negative, you want to know about it. If there's a negative issue that you're not even aware exists that a client points out, this is one client who pointed it out. There may be several more who thought it but didn't say it, or maybe we're not connected to, so we weren't able to actually listen to them. So this is a perfectly good opportunity to get solid information, real information, and really take corrective measures for customer service. So we really like that. Now, another opportunity when looking about listening is really we can really absorb a lot of that information and reuse it. So we're going to go into exactly why that's important here. So we're looking now for tips on ways you can respond and engage. So the first way we can talk about is really we want to engage our followers online. And what I mean by that is we want to engage them with our posts. Really, our posts are an opportunity for them to interact with us. So we want to create content we think people will respond positively to. As we've kind of mentioned before, online reviews, good or bad, are a great way to interact with your clients. They are reaching out to you to tell you something, and we really do need to respond. And again, responding good or bad is something that we must do. If someone is in fact positive, we want to thank them. We want to encourage them to continue to leave positive feedback. And likewise, if someone is negative, we really want to respond so that we can take corrective measure, or at least respond so that people know that we care. The last thing we want to do is have a completely unresponded to negative response online, because that indicates to other potential clients that our business doesn't care. So it's important to always respond. Another thing is we want to pay attention to our posts. Don't just put them out there and expect them to do their magic. You need to monitor them. We need to see which posts are getting good responses and which ones aren't. If you're getting a good response off one particular subject matter and not another, that's kind of telling in what kind of content our clients want to see. And therefore, that's the kind of content we should either emulate or find more of, and really start to feed the clients what they want. Obviously, and this goes without saying, but if a client asks you a question or posts something on it, we want you to reply to it. We really, even if that reply is something along the lines of the issue you're having, you need to come in for us to talk about it, post that. Say, we need to come in. Or if we can identify who that client is, we should be making an effort to reach out to them over the phone or whatever method we have to contact and try and get them to come in. We always want to respond. The fact that somebody's putting anything out there means they want some kind of response from you. So even if it's positive, oh, we had such a great time, thank you so much, we should respond positively to that as well. And then the other thing that is so really interesting about social media is when somebody shares something with you, individuals can share things with businesses. They can, for example, if you're a veterinarian, they can share a picture of their dog, or they're playing at the dog park, or a picture of their new glasses, or an interesting article. People really want to share content online. And the greatest thing as a business we can do to kind of encourage them is by resharing that content with your followers. So if we're a vet and somebody shares a cute puppy picture, or there's a litter of puppies, one client shares that, a lot of other clients are going to respond positively to that. And so what we want to do is we can reshare that. And that reshare is going to, again, give us good content to engage our client base with. but also create a really nice, going back to the beginning, a nice bond with the person whose content you're sharing. And it's not stealing. We're not asking you to just take it and run with it like it's yours. You want to give credit to that individual who provided that content for you. But it's a fantastic source to really get information from, and it takes a lot of work out of your hands. It makes life, well, easier. So moving on to targeting properly. So sometimes if you're sitting by passively and you're not really taking part in your social media, so it's there, it's kind of running, but we're not really being a part of it, we're really not using all the tools at our disposal. Social media is a great resource for expanding your audience and increasing the referrals you get just from posting helpful information. So one of the things we need to do is we really need to know who our audience is. And the thing I always talk to our clients about is, look, the biggest mistake we see most of you make is that you're not relating to your clients like they're your clients or they're your patients. We're really relating to them like they're our colleagues. And that's one thing that you really do need to kind of stay away from, and at least realize you're doing. Most of the technical nature of what we do, or even a lot of the scientific nature of what we do, is beyond what our clients need to know, or at least from all of our clients need to know who are engaging with us. But it's also not necessarily the things that they're going to engage with. Things that you might find interesting about your profession, they may not. So we need to treat them not like they're our colleagues, but like they're our clients. So that's an important component there. Another option for really targeting properly is boosting your posts. So for those of you who don't know, Facebook has an option to boost a post. So if we have something very important or there's an event coming up and we really want to make sure all of our audience sees it, we can boost the post. And a boost is it's not terribly expensive. It does cost a little bit of money, but you can set up exactly what it is. The costs vary based on several factors, but it's not terribly expensive, and it gives us the ability to really send out a message to our social following. So we really like that. We do see great engagement when we are using the boost. The other thing is really sharing the relevant information. One thing is I would really recommend, and we've seen this, and I'm sure most of you aren't doing this, but you may have, really try to avoid sharing negative experiences or complaining about anything or anyone to your followers. Really, one of the big things, and when I'm talking about this, what I'm really talking about is a lot of times businesses may say something negative about a competing business. And it could totally be true. It could be sharing an article about something, a lawsuit that's going on. But the problem with this is even though it's true and even though we truly believe it, by sharing something negative, it really can harm our reputation. A lot of times it kind of makes us look catty or distrustful. So the one thing that we really want to encourage is always keep it positive and always keep it relative. Oh, and I have a question here I want to just answer. Yes, you will be able to access this webinar later. And I know apparently some of you don't have sounds, but you will be able to download this webinar and watch it later. So don't worry about that. Martin will make sure you get taken care of. Okay, so going back to targeting properly and keeping them engaged, really, again, this goes to how do we keep them engaged? Well, we have to share useful, good content, and we have to do it consistently. If we're being good about really listening like we were talking about before, we're going to be able to identify the better content that the prospective clients are really going to kind of engage with and devour. That's what we want to do. Now, the last thing is looking at your results. And this is probably a big one because most people don't do this. You have a wealth of data at your fingertips when you're using social media. Facebook alone has some great information about engagement and what kind of social reach we're seeing. And we can really dig into those numbers, and if you're willing to kind of learn how, we can really translate that information in a meaningful way. We can see if we're doing a good job. Social media is not something you just want to set up and let it go. I mean, you can, but it's not ideal. There is a better way to do it, and that is by making sure and modifying things as we're moving along. So, things that we want to do as far as sharing the latest news. Let me pull this up. Now, while your website is a great place to share information regarding your services, your hours, your location, the truth is social media tends to be a better place to reach and broadcast your audience with your latest news. When, for example, new research or something funny happens in your industry, share it with your followers on social media. And if you need to get information out, like something very quick, like a closure or a holiday or an emergency, posting it to social media is another fantastic way to do it, because your followers will go to your social page and see if there's anything up to date. A lot of them will. And it's sometimes more easy than doing that than updating the website with something. You can very quickly get that message out. The other thing we want really to do is we want to use social media to really share educational and interesting information about your services, reminding your followers why your services are so important to increase the probability you will retain their business in the long run. Again, this is all about making sure we stay current in our existing client base's mind. Obviously, and I know a lot of you do this, but I'll encourage you to do it anyway, we want you to promote any kind of specials that you might be running, especially if it's something that's run only on social. Do only a special for the followers, because it'll keep them engaging with your content. So a lot of you probably already do, or if you haven't, you should consider doing an online special for our social media followers. Is a great way not only to cement them as your followers, but bring in more. And it's a great way to keep those existing clients really coming back. And obviously, by sharing the latest news about your business and your services, you are showing your followers that you are showing your followers that you are really an authority and you are current on what's happening. Think about this. They're relying on you to know what the latest is going on. If you're a vet, the latest in veterinary medicine. If you're a chiropractor, the latest techniques that we can use. And the more you update sharing this information, the more of a trusted source you're going to be. And the more trusted you are, the better chance we have at not only them referring us out, but also coming back in and giving us their continued business. Now, why do you need to make a habit out of using social media and not just, a set it and forget it or a once in every while? The best way to explain this is it's like embracing, a workout or eating healthy. You need to make it kind of a lifestyle to really work. By making social media posting a regular event your schedule, you're showing your followers that you care about them and you are listening to them. If a consumer visits your social media page and it hasn't been updated for over a year, it really looks like you aren't engaged and are possibly not even open anymore. They will distrust that you are actually paying attention. And I have a great story for you. There was and this is from my recent experience, I was going out to dinner with my wife. And there was a restaurant we hadn't been to in about a year that we had talked about going back to. And my wife looked it up online, and one of the first things that came up was their Facebook page. She popped up the Facebook page, and nothing was posted there in the last year. And her immediate instinct was to say, oh, they must be out of business. Well, we dug a little deeper, and in fact, they weren't out of business. They just were no longer posting on social media. In this case, the extra little bit of research we did still allowed us to go to the restaurant. They didn't end up losing their business, but there is a potential for losing that business. And in our case, it didn't end up that way, but in many cases, it certainly could. That's the last thing you want to do, is be outdated. Let me find my place again. So not having social media or an active social media presence will also make you look outdated. So if your concern is, well, then I won't have social media, that doesn't really help you either. Because if we can't find your social media information, or if we're looking you up and it's not there, that's just as a negative sign that maybe the business isn't around anymore. The regular activity shows that you value your followers, and you want to offer them something of value as well. So it shows you care about them. If they have taken the time to follow you on social media, the truth is they do want to hear from you, they want to hear about you, and they want to know really what's going on. So really, in summary, the one thing we really want you to do is make sure you stay current on all your social medias. Make sure we're posting, make sure we're updated, make sure everything we share is current. The other thing is we want to be in the loop. You need to know kind of what's going on with your followers. You need to be able to respond to them. We need to get an idea of what is engaging with them. And of course, if they send us a message, we have to respond to them. 3, we want to control the message. keep the messages to what our mission is about. If we're a chiropractor, we need to keep these about, chiropractic content that is engaging. Let's not stray on philosophical ideas. Let's keep it back to our core. And lastly, number 4, it's all about building your brand. This is a great way to expand who you are and make it so that your logo is synonymous with what the client is looking for. So this is where we have the Q&A session. If you have any questions on our GoToWebinar, you should be able to actually type in the chat and it'll pop up. I'll give everyone a minute or two to type any questions you have, and I'll try and answer them. I have a few minutes to go that way. And if we have no questions, obviously you will be able to contact us if you have more specific needs. Whether you're a new client of ours or an existing client, we have our account management department where we are absolutely happy to help you along with anything that you need. If you have questions about how you should be doing stuff on your social media, if you have questions about SEO or PPC, anything when it comes to internet marketing, contact us directly. Your account managers will be happy to kind of walk you through, show you what you need to do, and obviously there's no charge for it. It's part of your service with us now. And you can call 1-800-iMatrix and simply ask to be transferred to the account management team, and we'll be happy to take care of you. Let me see real fast. I think we have a couple of questions here. The question is there a central, and I'm going to paraphrase here, is there a central place where we can post where it goes to all social media sites? And the answer is yes. There are a couple of ways to do this, and none of them are perfect because social medias are always changing. But there's different providers that offer services that will post in one location and post to many. One way to do this is actually, and we have one built into our blog platform, where we can use a program called RSS Graffiti, and if you make a post, it will also go out to your Facebook and Twitter accounts. Our client experience team can certainly help you kind of point out how to set that up. And there are different service providers that do offer paid services where you can post in one location and it goes out to many. So you can look that up online. There's a few providers for that if that's what you're looking for. Okay, here's a great question. Any suggestions for having a client base that is largely above the age of 50? Yes, actually, thank you, Randy. That is a great question. Really one thing, and the reason why it's a great question is because I don't necessarily want you to differentiate how you treat a client base that is older than one that is younger. The truth is, and I'll be honest with you, my parents are actually avid Facebook users. They both have an iPhone, a recent iPhone. They're up in the middle class, and the truth is, they post pretty frequently to Facebook. There isn't a whole lot difference between engaging that client base and a younger client base. You may not get the same response as far as, they might not be responding in totally depending on who they are, but we do tend to see a lot of followership out of an older population. So my recommendation is don't treat them any differently. Do the same things because they're catching up. And they may be a little behind. They may not be up on the most recent social medias, like they're probably not doing a whole lot with like Instagram or maybe even Pinterest. But the truth is the population for Facebook is actually aging. The younger population on Facebook is actually steering away from Facebook, and it's almost like it's passé for the young crowd. Most of them are moving over to ones like Instagram. Okay, one question from Brian is, how many times a week should one post to Facebook? That's a great question, Brian, and it really does depend. I would love to see an ideal kind of posting amount would be about one post every 2 to 3 days. That would be fantastic. Depends on the kind of content we're posting. We start to run into a problem when we post too frequently that we are starting to lose followers because we post too much. So you want to make sure that when you are posting more frequently that the content is incredibly engaging. It has to be good content. It can't just be kind of, throw it up there, whatever content. It has to be something interesting and engaging. If you can get that kind of content, then every other day is fantastic. It'd be great. If you can't get that kind of content, and we're talking about like just basic internet memes, we're talking about, the same content that always rolls through, that's just whatever, in that case, then we're probably looking at maybe every 3 to 4 days. Okay, this is a good one from Cheryl. What is the best time of day or day to actually post? And the truth is that is very unique. So there's a couple different ideas on this, and I'll share a couple with you that we've talked about. One of the interesting things is to think about when your client base is active. So you pointed out an interesting issue. When you do post, it is a live post that goes up, and the problem is as time goes on, that post goes down. So for example, if, say, you send out a post right now, and most of your client base is at work, all these other posts are happening, and by the time they're on their break or lunch or after work and they're looking at Facebook, your post is buried. So one thing I talk to my clients about is varying up the posting. One thing you can do is you can test to see when you're getting engagement. If you make a post on the morning and it gets better response than the afternoon, that's a good indicator or potential indicator that it was either a good post or that was the right time. The other thing that I like to do is I like to vary my posts, but I like to post around lunchtime. I think a lot of people are actually, and I apologize, I don't have any evidence to necessarily back this up. I haven't seen a report on this, but my instinct would be to post around lunchtime. A lot of people are on their break. They're checking in. They're looking to see what's going on, and a post around that time is great. I would also go with the post-work crowd because they're tired. They're done with work. They want to look at what else is going on, what's entertaining on Facebook. So I would recommend posting really right around lunchtime and probably shortly after work. Those would be ideal times from really my perspective. But again, it depends on your client base. So I would vary it up though, and really, if you want a true answer to that question, Cheryl, I would recommend digging deep into the analytics of your social media and seeing what kind of responses we're getting based on when we're posting. That would be the ideal way to do it. All right, so any last questions before we call it a day? Let's see. Oh, here's a good question. How quickly do we update our website to look fresh? Well, Colleen, it depends. It depends what you mean by update. So we always want you to kind of update content on the website. So if something new is going on or it's newsworthy, obviously you can post it on your website. That's fine. But as far as updating the look of your website, that really will depend. We have some clients who do it really annually. They change the look of their website. We have some clients who try and do it every 2 years. There's no set rule for how often you want to do it. The one thing you want to do is make sure we're not too stale. My recommendation would be not to do it more than every 2 years, but I wouldn't do it every 6 to 9 months. That's a little too soon. But we certainly want people to think we're new and fresh. And actually, it's funny that you suggest that because obviously for our clients, we do refresh for our existing client base, and we try and reach out to our clients. Really, the goal would be to reach out to you once a quarter and talk about that and take a look and see if everything's up to date and looking good. This year, you'll see a lot of new skins come out from us. Our goal is to release quite a few. In fact, the goal is to quadruple how many we have. Hopefully, we'll be able to get there by the end of the year. Okay, so yes, Tim. So Tim's responding to something I just said about the posting times being at noon and after work. You absolutely could post to both. The one thing I would advise you against, though, Tim, is if you do that, make sure you vary the content. Because the last thing you want to do is share the exact same content twice to potentially the same person. So if you're going to do that, that's okay. But make sure we actually create additional content or have another content standing by. And if you're going to do twice over those days, then I'd probably push my posting out to, instead of every other day, to maybe every third or every fourth day with 2, on those days. That may be what I would be thinking. But that's a great idea. Okay, I'm going to give you guys about another 2 minutes to ask some questions before we wrap up for today. So again, I want to remind everyone, don't forget, if you have any questions about anything that's going on with social media or anything that's related to internet marketing, our account development department is happy to assist you with them. Obviously, we offer different service tiers. If you need those, that's an option. If you just need some advice, we have that as well. Of course, advice is always free, and we're happy to give it to you. So we'll give you another minute or so before we wrap up. And I hope everyone enjoyed the webinar. If you do have any questions that come to you after, don't worry. You can still ask us. You can call into our general support staff, or again, you can reach our account development department. Either way, we're happy to assist you with whatever it is that you need. And really, again, our job is to really just take care of you and make sure you guys are doing everything that you possibly can to get the most out of it. Well, thank you, Colleen. Thank you, Cheryl. Colleen asks, how do you get the notes? I'll have to talk to our team about that, our webinar group, and I'll see what they have. But we do have notes for the webinar, so I will see if we can get those out or posted along with the webinar. So I will do my very best. Email, yeah, we can probably email them out. Colleen, do me a favor, if since you really want the notes, do me a favor, email our support staff. So you can email support@imatrix.com and just ask if you can get a copy of the notes from the webinar. That way we'll have the request logged, and we'll be happy to give that to you. Oh, Tim does ask one good question. Is there a type of post that seems to get more attention, a typed post versus a photo or a video? It depends, Tim. The funny thing is the posts that we see the most engagement are really do vary kind of by our industry. So, for example, our veterinary clients tend to get incredible responses off of puppy pictures. Believe it or not, if there's a group of puppies that come in, those posts tend to get the craziest amount of engagement we've seen. For example, our chiropractic clients, we do see memes do kind of well if they're creative and good and they haven't been seen before. But usually pictures tend to do a little bit better. Keep in mind social engagement, and this is one thing I actually didn't address, but one thing we have is we have a very short window of attention span. So we want to make sure the post isn't too in-depth. If it's something that is linking to an article, unless it's a really, really engaging article, more than likely it's not going to get a ton of response, because people aren't going to spend the time to really go in there and dig it up. So usually, a lot of time, pictures or videos tend to fare a little bit better than just a straight article. So I hope that answers your question. And again, we will definitely make sure we have the notes for you guys as well. So any of those who obviously, I know I talk fast, I apologize. But again, for the notes for the webinar, you'll be able to give me the email address. I don't have an email. The email that I would like you to email, if you do want the notes, send an email to support@imatrix.com. And again, just say you were listening in part of the webinar and you'd like to get those notes. I'll make sure anyone who sends an email there does in fact get those notes. So I promise everyone we will get those to you. That's not a problem. And is there any other questions before we cut it off? I'm going to give you another 20 seconds to write in. All right. And I'd like to thank you guys. I love getting questions at the end of the webinar. Hopefully you guys took some good information from this. And again, obviously, we're always doing webinars, and a lot of the different people who work in different departments here are happy to participate in this. It's a great experience for us to be able to give an opportunity to talk to you, especially in groups, and talk about different subject matters. So I think we're going to wrap it up for the day. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and don't hesitate to call us or email us if you have any questions. Lastly, again, our support email is support@imatrix.com. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.